What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are back once again with the F1 2016 Career Mode Championship. This is round number 14 here for the Italian Grand Prix. If you haven't seen the previous episode already, I recommend you go check that out. The Belgian Grand Prix. It was a massive one in the progress of our Career Mode Championship. It was the first race in this entire season where it looked like we might have scored on the podium, let alone possibly go for a win there, but we'll see what we can do heading into the Italian Grand Prix now, where it's supposed to be one of those tracks that's going to suit the manor down to a T. So we'll see what happens. Once again, the focus, as always, is on making this car as fast as we can, doing all the practice programs, doing the homework so that when we get to the test, we can get that A+. So we'll see what we can do. At the end of the first practice program there, we get a purple score and we kind of demolish all of the polystyrene signs there, just for the bants, I suppose. But we return back on the track to do the tyre wear test, as we do. Attacking at turn 1, we hit the curbing a little bit there. We hit this orange part of the curb that was on the inside part, and it sent us up on 2 wheels, V8 supercar style. That's normally the kind of driving style you need to do to make up time, but it doesn't work in an F1 car. I just thought that was pretty crazy how we got so much air time through the first corner. But at the end of the practice program, you can see we've pretty much perfected all of the tyre wear test laps, managing to get minimal tyre wear on every single lap. So that really bodes well for us in the race. That says to me that we could possibly do a one-stop in this Grand Prix, but we'll have to wait and see it. And again, at the end of that program, I decided to demolish the rest of the polystyrene barriers there. And at the end of practice, we did a qualifying run as well. We ended up in 7th place. So very good start to the weekend. It looks like we've made even further progress in this round too. So it's time now for qualifying.
Qualifying is about to start here at the Autodromo di Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. The teams are about to head out onto the track any minute now.
Once again, it seems that we have another rain-affected session in qualifying, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with this one. Traditionally, when it does rain, we do find ourselves elevated a little bit higher compared to where we normally are in the dry. This time, I opted to do a little bit of a change. I decided to just sit out the first 5 or so minutes of qualifying, see how the AI get on, and just kind of see if I could pick up some tips by watching them. And then around the 10-minute mark, I decided to head out on track and go out for a blast and see what I could do. Essentially, this first lap here was really just a cider lap, just taking it nice and easy. You can see it's not perfect driving by any means. I'm really just tiptoeing around the track, trying to establish a nice banker time at this point. And unfortunately, I made a mistake with the way that I approached this session. I didn't realize until after I got back to the pits that I only put in 3 laps worth of fuel, or 3.5 laps worth of fuel, which is what I was running in at the end of practice. So unfortunately, I didn't realize that I wasn't doing a long run here. I would have liked to have strung together a lot of laps here, but unfortunately, I could only get 2 laps in here. So this is the second lap, the very next lap after the banker, and you can see there's only 4 minutes left in the session. So we kind of wasted a little bit of time here, and as we come into Parabolica now, we've run out of fuel. We have run out of fuel at the end of that lap where we were over a second up on our previous best. So I had to pull into the pits straight away. It might be a blessing in disguise now, because we came into the pits, changed tyres, and went out for a blast once again to set the best possible lap we could at the end of the session. So you never know, we might improve drastically at the end of this session here. Traditionally, in these Codemasters F1 games, when you have wet weather conditions, the session is almost always at its best, or the track is at its fastest right at the end of the session. So we're going to see if we can capitalize on that. Currently, we are 1.2 seconds up on our previous best, and we are on the slipstream of Sergio Perez, the car in front of us. So it's all looking towards like we're going to better our lap time here, and we almost need to, because we are in last place, and that's definitely not the kind of place we want to be at this point in the season now. We're kind of a midfield running team now. If you guys have missed the last 2 episodes, we are essentially looking for those positions somewhere in the mid to low teens in terms of grid positions. But coming out of the final corner, we gained a little bit more time, a few tenths out of Parabolica, and it's 1.6 seconds of an improvement. But where does it put us on the grid? It is P11. Okay, so that's all right. Considering we only did 2 flying laps in that session. I really should have done more laps, to be honest. I just made a mistake with the fuel allocation for that session, but we ended up 2 tenths in front of our teammate Pascal Wehrlein, and it looks really good for us heading into the race, knowing that we could have improved even further. So without further ado, let's get into this race for the Italian Grand Prix.
The Italians love their cars and they love their racing. And of course, they love it here at Monza. Home race for Ferrari, of course, who've had 18 wins here since 1950. But you know, there's not been so much luck for the locals in the cockpit recently. The last Italian driver to win this race was back in 1966. So what now? I think it's time to make some more history here today. It's a very tight turn 1 here and a very big braking zone. It's a corner, Anthony Davidson, where we've seen a number of lap 1 incidents in the past.
As you say, it's a very small piece of track when you have more than just one car trying to go through it. The actual run down towards the chicane is quite wide, so off the start we'll often see drivers running 2 or maybe 3 abreast as they come up towards the braking zone. Everyone wants to brake late, of course, to win track position, and that tends to be where we see a lot of contact. And you'll see the more experienced drivers kind of hang back a little into here and focus more on picking up the pieces from other people's incidents.
Expected. Let's see if we can do even better.
So here we are on the grid of the Italian Grand Prix. As you can see, the conditions are not the best. A pretty dreadful day to go racing, in all honesty. But if you guys remember, back to 2008, 8 years ago, Sebastian Vettel got his debut win around this track in a back market kind of car. Can we do something similar in our Manor Mercedes? It'd be absolutely legendary if we could. The best result we've managed so far in this season is only 4th place. So let's see what we can do today. Maybe a podium might go begging here in this Grand Prix. We'll have to wait and see as we line up on this grid now to get this race underway. The Italian Grand Prix. What can we do? Away we go. And it looks like it's been an okay start. As long as we can hold position heading into turn 1, and that's all I can really ask for. The turn 1 chicane has just been a scene for many crashes on the first lap, and especially in the wet, it's just going to be absolutely diabolical. Looks like we survive at the moment, trying to find a way around Kvyat and also Valtteri Bottas. No, that's Felipe Massa. We kind of squeeze around him, and now we squirm as we try and find a way around Daniel Kvyat here for 8th position in this Grand Prix. We make contact heading into the 2nd chicane now, but we're going to dive bomb. Who is that? Is it Verstappen? I think it is there. Contact with Ricciardo there as he kind of loses the back end under brakes, and we take his position as well. So lightning start here in this Italian Grand Prix. We move into P6 at the end of lap 1. Next up is Carlos Sainz in the Toro Rosso, which has been absolutely overperforming in this 2016 Formula 1 career mode. And that was the very car that Sebastian won in just 8 years ago. However, he did start from pole position. It is 11th place that we started from today, so we've got a whole lot more work to do in this Grand Prix if we want to get anywhere near the likes of the Mercedes and also the Ferrari cars. You can see there, speaking of Mercedes, Nico Rosberg is next on our hit list, so we'll see what we can do up against him. We can see Raikkonen is the cork in the bottle here, holding up not only Vettel, but Rosberg as well. So we're in the slipstream now, and all we can do is just rely on that Mercedes-powered engine to get us in front of the works Mercedes power. So we'll see what we can do. We're following Vettel here. Nowhere to go there. Absolutely no space for us to go to the inside or even find a way around Vettel there. But he goes very slow on the apex of the first corner there. And I heard from the engineer that Vettel actually has some front wing damage there, so that might explain why he's going a little bit slowly. He might have held up Raikkonen, and now that Raikkonen has been freed, the pace from the leaders here might kick up a notch a little bit here. So we follow with Rosberg again on lap 5 here. No DRS to utilize in wet conditions, so that kind of takes away one strategy element from the AI that they can overtake us, but at the same time it makes it a little bit harder for us to overtake as well. But here we go around the outside of Nico Rosberg here, and we move into the podium positions in this Manor Mercedes car. Absolutely unbelievable here in this Grand Prix that we're actually managing to move forward as much as what we are. Up against the front runners in Formula 1, it's absolutely unbelievable. Next up is Kimi Raikkonen. You can see just how much momentum we gained in the slipstream at the top end of that start-finish straight, and it's just put us in a position where now we can attack the leader, Lewis Hamilton, and maybe battle him for the lead of this Grand Prix. It did put us level with Raikkonen heading into the braking zone, so we still had to do a lot of work there, but yeah, really good racing so far. Now the DRS is not involved. It's kind of really balanced, I must say, in terms of the slipstream and trying to get in front of cars. But now a few laps later, this is Nico Rosberg here getting his revenge as my tyres started to fall away a little bit. And yeah, just trying to defend a little bit. The momentum now has kind of switched now, and it's back in the AI's favour. As you can see, we're losing the back end of the exit of Parabolica there. So we try and tuck into the slipstream of Rosberg here. He's moving all over the racetrack to try and block the slipstream. And now it's 3 wide, heading into turn 1 as well. Lewis Hamilton actually made his pit stop. So this is essentially a 3-way battle for the lead into turn 1. Contact with Rosberg, contact with Raikkonen. We're just pinballing off of these two guys through the first chicane, and somehow we come out on top there. That is absolutely incredible that we've managed to pull that off. Not only get past Rosberg, but get past Raikkonen as well, and maintain the lead of this Italian Grand Prix. It's just been an incredible race so far. The intermediate conditions just throw up so much awesome racing, and as you can see here, this is the replay of us locking up the brakes into turn 1. I probably turned in a little bit too early there. Got squeezed for room by Rosberg and Raikkonen, who both wanted to take the supremacy over me and lead this Grand Prix. It would mean a lot for both drivers for them to lead this race, and somehow we actually came out on top there. So here you can see through the various replays just what went on between myself and these guys. Rosberg took the lead after I ran wide through the final corner, and then he literally was driving up against the pit wall in order to break the slipstream there. I followed him. It's 3 wide in rain conditions here, and we lock up the inside front tyres. We made contact with Reich. We made contact with everyone at least a couple of times there. And we managed to escape there without crashing, without sustaining too much damage. I will say that my front wing was actually like a light green colour, and I had to ask the team what was going on with the damage there, because there actually was a slight bit of damage with the front wing, but after the pit stop it was fine for some reason. So yeah, we're coming in the end of lap 9 here for a new set of intermediate tyres, undercutting by 1 lap. Kind of just reacting to what Hamilton did as well. I want to kind of stay on level terms with him. I feel like now on fresh tyres I should be able to maybe reel him in a little bit if the first stint is anything to go by. But I employ the same tactic that Rosberg did there. Didn't really help, as I was just gobbled up by both of those guys on the start-finish straight here. Raikkonen makes contact with Rosberg, and now I'm going to try and pick my way through here, up the inside of Raikkonen here. We make contact with Rosberg. We've been glued, and we're into the wall now. We're all in the wall. Second, third, and fourth place in this race have just binned each other in this Italian Grand Prix. As you can see on the replay from Raikkonen, he made contact with Rosberg. He runs wide in the second part of this chicane, and then he touches up with me there. So it was kind of simultaneous contact there between Raikkonen, Rosberg, and myself. So the first contact comes from probably Raikkonen, but then the contact that really sets it apart sets it off for all of us is the contact I made into Rosberg's right rear tyre. And I kind of got glued there. Couldn't, for the life of me, like get off of Rosberg's car before we went in the wall there. It's just this weird thing with the handling model, the damage physics. Like as soon as you touch another car, you are literally glued, and you like almost have to stop, or I don't know. It's just impossible to clear that. So really unfortunate that had to happen there, and we've lost our front wing in the process. So much happening in this Italian Grand Prix, I can't even keep up. My teammate Pascal Wehrlein has retired because he's been going too slow, stuck behind the stranded Rosberg on a broken front wing. So that's great. That is an absolutely great lap there for the Manor Racing team. I've lost my wing. I've lost all chances of finishing on the podium for this race, and Pascal retires. So whoever the team manager is, he's probably going to be pulling his hair out. He's just seen us going from the absolute high of highs, battling for the lead of this Grand Prix, to now be fighting over 15th place after Hulkenberg went in a little bit deep at the high speed, the first sector chicane there. So we carry on, and Hulkenberg runs into the escape road again. I think he's having brake problems because he he went in deep at the first chicane, and now he's gone in deep again at the second chicane, just a few seconds later. Almost drills into the back of me, by the way, and then he rejoins on the track horizontal to the racing line. That's completely and utterly unacceptable, what he just did there. He's rejoined horizontal to the racetrack, and if Nasser wasn't there, Ericsson wasn't there, sorry, he would have like gone off to the left-hand side into the gravel. But either way, we continue in the action. This is one lap later. I've caught up to all these guys now who are squabbling quite a bit on older intermediate tyres. So I've essentially done the undercut again, coming in for new tyres, and we should be easily able to absolutely soar past all these guys in the midfield. We're easily a contender for the top 5 in terms of raw pace in these intermediate conditions. So we pretty much made quick work of these guys in the midfield, and now we're going to pass Nasser up the inside into turn 1. It's a very daring move off the racing line into the first corner. Really heavy braking zone. You've really got to put on a lot of pressure on the brake pedal in order to stop it. And it's very easy to lock up there. So lap 18, a lot more cars are making their pit stops. And if you didn't notice there, I was running right up against the white lines there in order to cool down the tyres, because the track is now starting to dry. Replay with Magnussen here, something happens. Yep, he goes in deep with a Force India, and he gets glued to the Force India like I did to Rosberg. Carlos Sainz is now out of the race. Jenson Button is out of the race. Do we have a contender for a third? No, we don't. Okay, so let's see the replay. There's engine smoke up ahead, and Jenson absolutely nails Carlos Sainz, by the way, through the Ascari chicane. Carlos Sainz, yep, he's pulling off to the side. He's retired from the Grand Prix. He's got engine troubles, and then little did he expect, Jenson Button smashes into his left front tyre there. Out of the Grand Prix for sure for both of those guys now. And lap 27, we have Daniel Kvyat now on the attack, heading into the Ascari chicane. 7 laps to go, and the engineer is telling me about weather, and you know, there's going to be 5 minutes left of light rain, and then it's going to stop, and it's going to, you know, obviously go to a dry track. But how quickly that'll be, we're not too sure. Up the inside into Parabolica now, and we move back inside the top 5. Hold on to it, Ben. Just about held on to it there through the final corner there. Just trying to get on the power as much as I can. Now searching not only for wet parts of the track, but also to break the slipstream from Daniel Kvyat there, and there he goes. He just flies past us. Nothing we can really do there. I had a little look up the inside into the first corner. Yellow flags, but also it wasn't really a very opportunistic time to pass him there. The gap was closing, and who is this? It's surprise, surprise, Nico Hulkenberg, who is still in the race on his absolutely dead brakes, and he's just running wide everywhere and almost causing carnage for everyone else. Nico Rosberg is retired from the Grand Prix, and I just wonder if Rosberg has collided with Hulkenberg, because Rosberg was behind us, if you remember, and we just passed Hulkenberg. So maybe the two things aligning there has resulted in Rosberg crashing with Hulkenberg. I'm not too sure there. I didn't get a replay, unfortunately. Lap 23, you can see Kvyat once again on the move, and we almost came very close to making contact through turn 1 once again. You can see now, lap 23, it is so very near to dry conditions, but I just want to go for it. Go onto the dry tyres, super softs, and run 4 laps to the end and try and chase down these guys on intermediate tyres if they decide to stay out. However, they could stop on the next lap, and that'll give me a massive undercut in terms of switching to the dry tyres at the perfect time. You can see at the moment we are really struggling at the moment. The key thing to note, though, is that DRS still is disabled. Once you get that notification that DRS has been disabled.
Gap to car in front is 8.3 seconds.
8.3 seconds to the car in front, so that's what you want to hear. Like I was saying, the absolute critical moment is when the DRS gets enabled once again. So the lap after I came in, it did get enabled, and you can see I was setting purple laps on the previous lap, and now heading into 27. We go up the inside of Alonso, so we move into P8 now, and with only, you know, about half a lap left to go now, we've got a lot of time to make up to get to where we were at previously, which was position 6. So you can see Bottas right in front of us as well. In front of him is Felipe Massa. So let's get Bottas first. These guys didn't elect to stop in and put on dry tyres. It looks like it might have worked for some of these guys. It looked like probably staying out on inters was probably the fastest way around to finish this race. But we get up on the AstroTurf there, round the outside of Massa, and we're going to come across the line to finish exactly where we were, position 6.
You did well today. I think the boss will be happy with that one.
And there we go. That has been the Italian Grand Prix, guys. 6th place in what was an absolutely crazy race. At the start of that one, we got to 2nd very, very quickly, but Lewis Hamilton just had enough of a lead to really keep it cool, keep it consistent, and after I got to 2nd, my pace really started to fade away, and crucially, I couldn't do anything in the 2nd stint of intermediates where that would have been the time. If I was going to win the race, I really needed to close into Hamilton there. But unfortunately, just didn't have the pace there. So 6th place it was. After making contact with Rosberg, Raikkonen, we managed to come back through the field, finish in P6, and claim another few solid points for our championship campaign. Driver standings, we're still in 10th place, where I think we might just about have that pretty much nailed down for the rest of the season. If we can score a couple more points, I think we're going to be a certainty to finish inside the top 10. And in a manner, I will certainly take that any day of the week. So that has been this race, guys. The Italian Grand Prix for Monza. Hopefully it lived up to your guys' expectations. Normally Monza always throws up some really good racing. Spa and Monza, always a fantastic time to go racing in the Formula 1 calendar. Let me know what you think might happen next week's race in real life. It should be a pretty interesting one. Who knows, maybe even Amana will score in the points in real life come this weekend. How amazing would that be? So, constructors, after that really good round, once again, we've managed to overtake McLaren Honda, who I don't think took away too many points from this race meeting, so I'll definitely take that. In terms of the resource points, we definitely got a good chunk today. We moved to 553, but when we turn over the page and see our first driver bonus, we should have something close to 6, maybe 700 if I ever press continue any time today. But speaking of the resource points and upgrading and all that kind of thing, there's going to be a point in the season now where we get to Singapore, and the team is going to ask us whether we want to cease work on the R&D and upgrades for the rest of the season. So I just want to know your opinion on that, whether we should stop the research and development from Singapore onwards, because if you stop it early, it's going to make your car better for next season. All the resource points that I earn for the rest of the season, after I do that, I'll get like this modifier or multiplier bonus, and I'll get like 1.25 times the amount of resource points I would have got compared to normal, and then I'll have that huge bank of points to spend at the start of Season 2. So let me know if you think I should end development on the car from Singapore onwards. Our results for this season might be hurt a little bit, but it's going to make our progression in Season 2 just that much better, and we might be very, very close to challenging the likes of Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull in a lot of those races. So as you can see there, we did another upgrade to the car, reducing the drag, and that's the final upgrade I did before Singapore. I just did that just in case the ceasing of development early was mandatory, and I just wanted to squeeze one more upgrade in to the car just before I got to Singapore. So that's been this episode for today, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did for this absolutely insane race. Moving all the way up to 2nd. Almost looked like we were going to go for the race win there if we could have kept it together. But yeah, absolutely mental. The way this season has turned out so far. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more F1 2016 videos. And as always, let me know what I should do with the R&D and upgrades for the rest of this season. Thank you guys so much for watching. The support on these videos has been absolutely crazy. And yeah, till tomorrow's career mode video, I'll see you guys next time.